Have you ever wondered exactly what top performers do behind the scenes the moment they get a seller lead? Like a seller comes into their orbit. Like what steps? What's next? How do I kick it off with this client? And also, what do I do behind the scenes to make sure my systems are set up? So I can CRM every little step to make sure my process from start to finish is smooth. Well, if any of that sounds good to you, then today is the show for you. I am sharing my own seller process. This is just part one. And we are going to go in the weeds step by step. And you're like, who are you? Why do I care? Maybe you know, maybe you don't. In case you don't, my name is Shelby Johnson. I am an Army vet turned real estate entrepreneur, and I've closed hundreds of transactions as an agent, team leader, and investor before hitting complete and utter burnout and almost leaving real estate entirely. So I started hosting podcasts and speaking at conferences, trying a bunch of different things. And now, years later, I am back. I'm rebuilding my business from the ground up in a brand new city and state. And I'm sharing my journey just with you. So y'all are listening to the Agent Goldmine podcast. This is the show for agents who've been around the block and are finally ready to build sustainable and scalable businesses, ones that they love and don't just want to run from. And again, I am Shelby Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Ali Garced. And otherwise, that's it. Let's freaking go.
Welcome to the Agent Goldmine, the only podcast in the world specifically for real estate agents who are stuck at 5 transactions a year to help them get to 20 plus. Your hosts, Ali Garced and Shelby Johnson, 2 EXP icon agents, each do over 40 transactions a year and interview others who are crushing it. In this podcast, you'll receive the knowledge to help you scale your business using systems and processes with our interviews and monologues twice a week. If you want to be a part of our community, reach out. Welcome to the show.
Okay, so a little bit of background for those of you who have been following my journey. It's that, new city, new state, relearning from the ground up. I've been an agent for years past and took a break from transactions. And so now, y'all, if you've been following, I got licensed, I think in May, and now it's December timeframe. And I have been working on like my seller process. Like I wanted it to be a well-oiled machine from very start to finish. And so this is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys in a multi-part series. And just a disclosure, this was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later, sharing. But this is it's a living document and it's a living process. And anyone who has built systems, you guys know that systems aren't one and done. You don't build it and say, yes, I'm done forever, because things change, processes change. The more like hypothetically you have a challenge or a hurdle to overcome, that is an opportunity for you to add it to your system. So systems, that's one of those things too. You just have to accept that it's never going to be 100%, and that's okay. So for part one of this series, though, if you are able to watch on YouTube, this would be a good one for you because I already have my screen shared, so I don't have to figure that out on the fly. But also I will be talking through it enough so that way if you're just listening, that is okay. And so hypothetically, this is where we're going to kick it off, like literally from the moment a lead comes into our orbit. So I'm not going to specifically talk about the marketing in this seller process. I'm going to talk about, okay, a lead either just plopped into my lap from a variety of different sources. What do I do now? And so with that, let me put this over here. Okay, the very first thing that I do in my seller process, and this is another thing I want to let you know, is that everyone's process is going to be different. And this is just what works for me right now in my business again. Okay, so the first thing that I do when I get a lead is I literally go to WhatsApp and I go to my virtual assistant and I say, new seller lead, name, any information I have, usually like a screenshot or whatever information. So this could be maybe someone just reached out to me with a referral, or let's just say that someone reached out with a referral, or maybe our lead came from HomeLight. We just signed up for HomeLight leads to test them out, which I can talk about another day. But basically the lead pops into my orbit, and y'all know, if you've been listening to this podcast, that speed to lead is so fucking important, especially if it's a cold lead. Slightly less important if it is a warm lead, but still, when people reach out, that is they want to talk then normally. And that is the highest likelihood that you're going to have success in that conversation. So although immediately I'm sending to my virtual assistant, like new seller, because she's got to start her backend and setting up the file, I am also, if I have the contact information, calling like ASAP. Which I do have. I'm going to show you my script. I'm going to show you everything as we go. But let me show you. And this is kind of weird sharing my screen, but that's okay. So when I go to my virtual assistant and I say new seller lead, this is on WhatsApp. What she is going to do is she is going to take this content. I just literally, this was like 15 minutes ago. I was like, hey, new seller lead. We're going to just fucking practice for this podcast that I'm doing. And so she'll go into Follow Up Boss, which you guys can see right now, and then put in the contact and then also any information that I have provided her. So this is your phone number, your email, which she just made up, the address. And if you haven't seen Follow Up Boss, I guess this is kind of a little good overview for you. But you can also put like the type of property that it is and multiple addresses. Then you can add relationships. In this scenario, we don't have any, but this is where you can put like a spouse or, a partner. And then the lead type. So this is a lead, but, hypothetically, if it was like an agent referral, whatever, you can put different types of stage. But I really like source, which she left blank because I didn't give her any. But like hypothetically, Ali Garced referral. We're just going to pretend that Ali sent me this lead, John Smith, and I'm going to put in source Ali Garced referral because this is important, guys. If you have a referral from someone, highly recommend, whether you're just putting it in your phone or in your CRM, that you put who the referring agent is as close to possible to that contact's name as another reminder that every time you talk to them, every time you reach out, every time you text or email or anything significant happens, you need to be updating that referral agent if you want to continue getting referrals. I cannot fucking believe, like truly in my heart, I cannot believe the amount of referrals that I've sent out that are crickets. And I have not built the referral process like Ali has. I think we have gone over that probably several times in this podcast, but we'll probably go around again in the future. She has an amazing referral process, and she can, think she's nodding. Like it's, if you guys are getting referrals from an agent, that agent is now trusting you with their reputation and with their money. And you cannot over update them. You really can't. You could text them all. They will love you more and more the more updates you give. So that's kind of like my little note on the referral. That's a little segue. Also, if you know other things, you can type in the lender. I'm seller focused, very much so. Price point, time frame, any tags. So seller is the tag. But then for this, because I just decided that it's going to be a referral, I'm also going to tag it as an agent referral. Tags are really important when you want to search data, filter data, and export, use it however you want in the future. So important. Background, I gave her absolutely no background. She's like, do this now. So this is where you can write any background. And guys, I'm going through Follow Up Boss. This same thing you can put into your own system, your own CRM, whether you're using KV Core, whether you're using Line Desk, or whether you're just using an Excel spreadsheet. But if you don't have any system, you don't even have an Excel spreadsheet, you need to. You have to. The minute you are talking to more than 3 people, there's no way you're going to remember it. And even though you think you're so smart, you're going to forget, and then you're going to look fucking dumb. So also here it has links to social profiles, anything you can pull from the internet, and birthdays, anniversaries, all things that you can, again, filter, search, and sort for. For instance, my virtual assistant, one of her monthly tasks is to, on the 15th of the month, she pulls all of the birthdays, all of the closing anniversaries for the next month. So that way she can send those names to our 13-year-old down the street so she can do the birthday boxes and keep in touch and love on people. So that way you can have a lower cost to acquire new clients than you can have repeat clients as opposed to getting new ones each time, which if you haven't listened to Ali's episode on the cost to acquire clients, you should go listen to that one too. Okay, so this is, again, the profile. Now we're actually getting to the part that matters. So over on the left side, something else that my virtual assistant does is she goes in, she finds the property and links it on Zillow. So I can just click, open it, see it right away. She also duplicates our seller drive. And so to explain,
I paid off one of my mortgages in just 4 months thanks to the shred method. I personally use the shred method to manage my money and crush my mortgage faster than I ever thought possible. The system was simple, the customer service is top notch, and the results speak for themselves. $121,000 of a mortgage balance gone in just 4 months. I put my money where my mouth is and it worked. If I can do it, so can you. This can not only help you, but your business as well. Help your clients not only buy homes, but also pay their mortgage off faster and build equity sooner. When you add this kind of value to their lives, you're not just their agent, you're their go-to advisor for life. The Shred Method sets you apart and keeps your clients coming back. So go to theshredmethod.com to learn more about how you can shred your mortgage and help your clients do the same.
One of the things that I did when building out this new seller process is that I created, of course, a template. We're all about templates. And one of the templates is a seller drive. And within that, what my VA does is she goes into our templates and she duplicates the template because you never modify the original or else it's no longer a template. And then she links it to Follow Up Boss. And what that is when I click, now I can see, all of the things that I am going to need throughout my process. So that's where we store all the information for the seller. But the other thing, the most important thing that she links for me is my listing checklist. So this is what I click. And when I open it, you can see she's renamed it Listing Checklist 123 Example Street. And you can see that she has done her kickoff. And if you don't have a virtual assistant, that's fine. You can do this. What kickoff means to us in our process is that she is going to create a new WhatsApp group. I'm going to pause on this real quick because if you are working with a virtual assistant, you're working with a transaction coordinator or a listing coordinator, you should not have one text thread because everything is going to get buried so quick. And so that's one of the reasons why we love WhatsApp is because she can create a new thread and then title it, which I don't think I have WhatsApp on this computer. But basically what she does is she creates the new thread and she titles it 123 Example Street - John Smith, their names. She adds myself. And then if Drake is a part of the transaction, she adds him. And the two of us, now we have a thread. And of course she adds a little icon that's like teal and it says sellers. So it's quick, color coding, coordination. We've talked about that before. But yeah, so then she creates that WhatsApp group. And then from there, we already talked about duplicating our seller Google Drive and renaming. These are all of her steps. And then she goes into Follow Up Boss, just like we showed. So this is the kickoff. We have a new lead. You can see here's our listing checklist. We have a new lead and the kickoff is what the virtual assistant has done so far. And she marks what she's done. The other thing that she hasn't done yet, because these are the things that are like ASAP, you need to do that so I can get on this call soonest. The other thing that she's going to do is she's going to pull all of the previous MLS cut sheets, sold, expired, withdrawn, etc. And she's going to pull and upload the PBA. And she uploads that in our seller drive. So that's where she's going to go into public records. She hasn't done it yet. That's okay. I literally gave her no warning.
What's PBA?
PBA, it depends. So in North Carolina, we call it like the realist report and it's PBA here. But it's like the tax record information.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so at this point, she has started the file. She's kicked it off. Yay. And it's in Follow Up Boss. And I, in theory, have already called because that is soonest. But if not, maybe I just got back to my computer and I open up my listing checklist and then I go to my script. Because you guys can see on the side here are my document tabs, right? So we're in new lead now, which we just showed you. But then script is where I am going to hop on before I make the call or at the same time. And then I have a little script for if it's a cold lead versus a warm lead. And these things, in theory, you've rehearsed this enough that it's going to be second nature that you're not like, what the fuck do I say? But they're here for you just in case you need to take like 20 seconds. It is honestly, in my opinion, better to take an extra 20 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever and like get your shit together. Understand where you want to go, be calm, maybe have looked at like one thing, but do not go too deep because again, speed to lead is so important in this process. But you're calling the lead. And if they pick up, I have the entire script on here, like, what's got you thinking about selling? And then little notes for myself of things it might be. And the fact that you should go 3 deep. You're not just like the first thing they answer, it's time. Okay, next question. No, you're like, what about what's making it time? Wow. Words. I'm great. I would really crush it right now on the phone. But you need to pull out like what they're actually why they're actually selling. Because this is going to be so important, and it's going to make them feel more connected with you if you can get them to share something personal and intimate with themselves and be like, oh, they get me, they understand me, whatever. And also throughout here, I have little reminders to like repeat it back, because that's something that I found to be really helpful as well, which one day, Ali, we can go through just the script and we can do that. I think that that's probably a good idea. Today's more focused on the process. But what I found, guys, is like repeating it back is so helpful, where it's like, okay, I just want to make sure I really understand, and then you mentioned that this is why blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. Because then they can be like, yes, or they can clarify. So either way, it's a win. But I'm also like typing on here as I go. This is like my running, living document for this. So that is if they pick up. Now, how many of you have called leads and they haven't picked up? Allie's the only one here. She nodded. Probably other of you have also experienced that they haven't picked up. So let's go back to the new lead process and say, hypothetically, they haven't picked up. On this same listing checklist, I have my 10 days of pain of exactly what you need to do. So you get the lead, and hypothetically, this is our process. You share your contact card from your personal number, then you call 2 times from your follow-up boss number. And the reason why we do that real quick is we are always trying to connect on our follow-up boss number. But if you call directly from like a CRM number, sometimes it comes up as spam, and then I want it to come up as like maybe Shelby. You know what I mean? So we do that little share real quick, and then you call 2 times. A lot of people will just call once. But if you call twice, that they're like, oh shit, maybe this is important. Maybe I do need to answer. Some people even call 3 times. That's a little bold. That's another thing. Like in this process, I have so much detail of texting them 3 times a day, every single day, or outreach 3 times a day, every single day for 10 days. I built this with Drake, who is a crazy person. But this is really good. And some people do this. I have found now in practical application that I will not call someone 3 times a day, every single day. I'm not going to text them 3 times a day, every single day, even if they're a new lead. On that first day, I'm going to try, I am going to call multiple times and shoot outreach, because again, speed to lead. After that, I shift into like a nurture mode, because I'm like, you didn't really want to talk to me that first day, and that's okay. And I am going to outreach at least 1 time a day during the first 10 days of pain. So through here, I literally have written out every possible interaction, though, that if you don't want to think, you can just copy and paste, including voicemails, including video messages. Like it's very fucking detailed. I curse so much. I'm gonna see if I can stop the rest of this episode. I'm not gonna say fuck one more time. Okay. Bet. Yeah. Okay, so this is 10 days of pain. Then after 10 days of pain, if they still have not picked up, I have a weekly and bi-weekly outreach examples, like things that you could call, text, or DM about. That's the other thing. In this part of the checklist, one of the steps is to find them on social media and follow/friend them, because then your stories, your posts, if they follow you back, become another layer of nurture where they start to feel like they know you and are going to be more receptive to a conversation. Ali, do you have questions?
This is all so well thought out. No, I don't have questions. This is amazing.
Oh, don't make me cry. Okay.
I want a copy.
Yeah, of course. Everyone can get a copy. I do have to figure out how to make this easier to, like, it's duplicatable for me, but everything is hyperlinked to my own specific locations. So I need to figure out which we can. Yeah, I'll figure it out. But okay. So now let's say hypothetically the new lead, you have booked a call, because that's the intent. When you get the new lead, you want to hop on a call with them. That is step 1. After you hop on a call with them, the whole point is to book an appointment. Like, yes, you want to talk to them as much as you can. You want to build rapport and all that stuff. But the whole goal is to get in front of them, because if you can get into their house, if you can sit at their kitchen table, the likelihood of you guys working together skyrockets, then as opposed to you just being that person who's calling, texting, whatever. Another thing that I want to note is people are scared of video. Not Ali, of course, but a lot of people are. But it is important. And within this nurture sequence, there are a lot of video messages as well, because people they feel like they know you if they see your video. You're less threatening. So yeah, that is the new lead. We have appointments set. we have called, no appointment, and then we have the nurture. So now I think I'm going to do one more thing before we call it for part one, but that is the new lead. Let's say hypothetically, you have called them and you have set the appointment.
If you're looking to change brokerages this year so you can increase your business and you want to join us at eXp Realty and would like either myself, Ali Garced, or Shelby Johnson to personally sponsor you in, so that way you have access to 2 icon agents, text the word join to either my number, 914-318-4918,
or Shelby's number, 859-267-3849.
If I sponsor you and you have access to the both of us and everything that's 5 Pillars Nation, we have the checklist, the systems, the processes to help you scale your business. And don't take our word for it. We've had agents switch brokerages to join us that were stuck making $300,000 GCI, and they join us so they can scale. So text the word join to those numbers and we'll take the next steps.
But that is the new lead. Let's say hypothetically, you have called them and you have set the appointment. That is when you move. As soon as you've set the appointment, not only are you going to update the lead stage, which that is all in Follow Up Boss as well, but you are going to skip to now, okay, perfect. I actually have an appointment. I'm so excited. We're going to go into appointment prep. And at this point in time, I just have VA in front of the ones that my virtual assistant's going to do. And then you can also, I didn't even tell you this, but on the listing checklist, if you want to expand, you can see kickoff, days 1 through 10, book to call no appointment, etc. Very clean, I think. But then again, that is one of those things when like you build it and you know where everything is. You're like, oh, this makes total sense. And then you send it to someone else. Like I'll send it to Drake and he'll be like, I'm so overwhelmed. Like I'm going to just jump off a cliff. So maybe this works for you, maybe not. But yeah, so now we're in the listing process where we have set the appointment. It's so excited. We're in the appointment prep stage. So the VA, my virtual assistant, is going to go into my dot loop. She's going to create the loop, which if you use dot loop, if you use Sky's loop, if you use whatever, this is all just imagine your own transaction management software, right? Is that the right word? Contract? Signature, whatever. She's going to create the loop, rename it applicable, for the specific file, and then add in as much details as she can. And she is going to pre-fill like all of my seller docs, for me that I might need for this appointment. And I have a bunch of notes in here for her. So when I share this, you guys can go through the actual specific notes if you want. I don't think we need to right now, Ali. No. Okay, cool. And then the next thing prepping for this appointment is she is going to stalk the sellers. So in both, if there's more than one, and I want links, I want as much information as possible on their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. I know this sounds excessive. Y'all, this sounds crazy, which is why I'm so glad I have a virtual assistant to help with this, because this would be a lot for one person to do. But this is the type of information that will set you apart in how you communicate with the prospect and eventually their client. This understanding how they think, what's important to them, allows you to immediately connect, not in a creepy, but you can just mention things, or you can be like me. I do say like, yeah, I stalked you. Dude, I think it's so cool that you love to drink Element in the morning or whatever. Like I'm all about salt, dude. It's that sort of thing.
It's one of the reasons why you got the listing that you just did. You found them on Airbnb. You could probably even add Airbnb to that list right there.
Totally. Yeah. Yes, very true. So you're going to stalk them, or your virtual assistant is going to stalk them and gather information. The next thing that you're going to do before this appointment is your analysis. At least this is what I do. You guys do it however you want. But the property analysis, and I had to write it all out because it had been a while since I did it. So I needed to write it out for myself on how I wanted to do my own property analysis and have the specific information ready on hand for the appointment. And then the last thing that I do before the appointment, which this is where I'm going to stop today, is I have my checklist for my bring along items. So how many times have you like been in the car on the way there and you're like, I forgot X, Y, and Z, right? Ugh. So definitely don't want to do that. And what I like to do is I do a clipboard. So for the bring along items, I'm going to prep myself, which is my appointment checklist, which we can go over next time. Actually, I should write that down. Well, we can probably start with the appointment checklist. But I'm going to print that out, and I have updated it to the seller specifically. Y'all, this is a lot of work. I do a lot of work before I even go to the appointment. So I better damn get that up. Better get the listing at that point. I'm like so in it. But yeah, so I have the appointment checklist, and if hypothetically they were like, I can't talk right now, you can come by my house at X, Y, and Z, and so you didn't get to go through your script, then I also have those questions. There's really important for you to know, so you need to bring them with you. And then I also have, print out the MLS cut sheet. I have my pen. If you do business cards, I wrote this on here. I still don't have business cards. So I just like check them each time, like, oh, I'm bringing them now. Then also this again, extra, but I like to bring like a seller goodie bag. This past time that I went, I brought snacks because I knew it was going to be long, and it was long. I stayed there for 2.5 hours for the first appointment. And so I literally, and I knew them because I stalked them that they're health people. So I brought like chomps, three chomps, and I brought like some That's It bars. So that way, like when we were an hour and I was like, okay, how are you guys doing? Do you need a snack? Because this is a lot, I know. But you can also bring like some, what?
That's so cute.
Oh, you can also bring like if they're obsessed with their dog, some people would find it like cheesy. Other people would eat that shit up. Like if you showed up with like, hey, like, dude, I stalked you and I know you love dogs. I also love dogs. So I brought this dog treat. I hope you don't think it's weird, but that can be cute. It can be endearing. It'll set you apart, that sort of thing. And then I also just always bring a lockbox just in case if they're like, you won't always need this, but sometimes like if it's vacant and if they're driving from an hour and a half away to meet at the property, damn right, I'm bringing a lockbox. Like I am ready to take this from you right now if you would like me to handle it for you. I also prep my computer. So that's the stuff that I have on like my clipboard and on my hand. But I also bring my laptop. I bring my Mac, and on my Mac, first of all, I'm going to clean it because I am nasty. I have like shit everywhere. I'm so gross. So I like clean it and I make sure it's charged. And then I also have, which this is hyperlinked, I have my listing presentation pulled up on my screen, which I have clearly, this is not my normal computer. This is my podcasting computer. So I'm not logged into anything. But what I also do with the listing presentation ahead of time is based on our conversation, I have way more slides than I actually use. And I actually just hand select the ones that are more applicable to that situation and that I know will resonate more with them. So I do a little bit of playing around before that. I also have that analysis that I did, the spreadsheet, and any little talking points or questions. And then it's either Zillow or what I've been doing lately is I can link my MLS photos to to my analysis, so I can click and pull up the photos. Because when you're talking pricing with a seller, it's a lot of times better for you to go through it together and say like, oh, okay, like, you mentioned this house down the street sold for this much. Here are the photos. Let's go through them together. And it's like, okay, what do you think about the kitchen? Do you think it's a higher quality or, compared to yours? Where are you at? And that helps them come to their own pricing conclusion, as opposed to you being like, this property is only worth this. And they're like, the house down the street. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to make it like a collaboration and effort. And it's better to get there when you do it together. And then the last thing that I have ready, but I usually don't do this, but I do have it ready, is the .loop documents that were pre-filled by the VA. So in case they are, want to digitally sign right there on the spot, that's fine. But most of the time I go back after the appointment and send that, which again, we can talk about. Also, look good, smell good, get there early, but not too early. Holy shit. Do not show up to a listing appointment 15 minutes early. Don't even show up. Don't show up 7 minutes early. I think that like 2 to 5, honestly, like 2 to 3 minutes early is like the sweet spot. Because if you show up 15 minutes early to an appointment, the wife is running around, she's half naked, she not ready. He not ready either. No one's ready. So don't be that person. But I also do think it's helpful to leave early and drive the neighborhood. And this is a bonus. If you have time to book some, like if you're in a neighborhood and there's like a few listings that are live on the market, go walk through them. This is if you really have time. So that way, I'm not dying. That way you can literally, when you're talking through it, to be like, I've recently walked through this property and I know that it actually smells or whatever the case. And then they're like, oh my God, you've been through so many houses. This neighborhood so well. So impressed. So Phew. Okay, that is all I'm going to do today for that is kickoff through pre-appointment prep. Ali, do you have any questions?
This was perfect. No questions. Be a bro and share this show.